Good morning, everybody. Wonderful morning. It's Thursday. It's Thursday. What am I thinking about? It's Friday morning. It's Friday morning. How could I not know that today is Friday? Thank goodness. Thank God it's Friday. And it's Juneteenth. It's Juneteenth, everybody. It is the 19th of June. And we are celebrating Juneteenth. And so I'm just kind of got our word that's going to be focusing in on that today. We're going to give Facebook Live just a few seconds to get the audience together, and I'm going to jump right into the word on this morning. Now, many of you follow me. And on yesterday afternoon, I kind of had the pre-announcement about our protest, if you will, for lack of a better word, our rally, our celebration of Juneteenth in O'Fallon City Hall. And so somehow or another, Facebook Live kind of blocked me. So I don't know whether or not I'm getting out or not. So shout out. Do you see me right now? Did you get that announcement on yesterday afternoon? Because I looked on my phone and it seemed like to me they kind of blocked me. I don't know what's going on. Seemed like to me if you can have Candace Owens spouting off about some everything, you can hear what others have to say as well. But anyhow, got a word for you on the morning. This morning is always the text, the talk, and the takeaway. Morning fam, you know what the deal is. I'm going to give you that. Then you got to do something. You got to give the hearts and the lights. You got to share the word. And we've been dealing with faith all week long. Talking about faith all week long. And we're saying, when it's broke and you can't fix it, what do you do when it's broke and you can't fix it? We always say, if it's not broke, then don't fix it. Well, what about when it's broke and you can't fix it? I want you to look at, today is Juneteenth, and I want you to just think about, go back in your mind and think about our forefathers and the faith of our forefathers and our matriarchs. How did they make it? Think about that a moment. Let's just set that table. Let's just sit that right here. How did they make it with a whip on their back and a master that is constantly on them? Born in slavery, died in slavery. For 200 plus years, it's been 400 years since 1609. Now, think about that for a moment. I just need you to let that simmer. Let it just sink in. When it was broke for them, how did they fix it with their faith? Here's the text this morning. Here's the text, and that is James 2:14 through 16. You already know it. For as the body without the spirit is dead, faith without works is dead. As the body is without the spirit is dead, faith without works is dead. Let's just think a moment about on this Juneteenth, when the last slaves, 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was already declared on the 1st of January, 2.5 years prior in Galveston, Texas, then the Union soldiers announced to the last group of slaves in America that they were free. Juneteenth. They broke out in celebration and in song and all, but how did their faith make it when it seems like things were broken and could not be fixed? 3 things I want to share with you this morning that I believe also make application for today. The first thing is faith takes risk. Faith takes risk. You have to understand something, that faith is like money. You have to invest it. You have to take a risk. And you have to determine whether or not you want to take the risk to get your ROI, the return on your investment. Come here, Harriet Tubman, and sit down and talk to us this morning. When Harriet Tubman delivered one slave after another, she took a risk. Sometimes you have to take a risk. You cannot just sit back and think everything is going to fall out of the sky. So I want to challenge you on this morning. Take a risk. This is a moment in which you have to take a risk. Faith is like money. You have to invest it. You have to take a risk, and you will get a return on the investment. Think about it. Had not our forefathers and our matriarchs not taken a risk in their faith, you and I wouldn't be here right now. Not in the place that we're in. Here's the second thing I want to share with you. Faith applies the rules of the road. You have faith and you operate in it every day. You get in your car, you operate in faith. You may not think of it that way. When you get on the plane, you operate in faith. When you walk past somebody, you operate in faith. You know how? Because you know the rules of the road. When you are driving, you have faith that the car that is coming toward you will not come over in your lane. Why? Because there are rules to the road. When you come up to the light and the light is green, you drive through it and without any fear that somebody's going to run into you. Why? Because you know the rules of the road. When you flip on the light switch, you believe that the light is going to come on. Why? Because you have kept the rules of the road. The rules of the road is that if I pay, then my lights are going to come on. If everybody is operating in these rules, then there's nothing for me to fear. There are rules of faith. That means you have to work the word. You have to put the word in action. You believe that the word says this, and therefore I'm going to get that. Same thing happens in faith. You're already operating in faith. So you have to now understand that there are rules to operating in faith, and there will be a return on the investment. So you have to take a risk. You know the rules of the road because faith has rules. And when you're operating in them, you can be dependent on that everything is going to do exactly what you believe it's going to do. And then here's the third thing. Faith doesn't retreat. Let's go back to Juneteenth. Juneteenth, the day that the last slaves were told that they were free. Our forefathers and our matriarchs operated in faith, and they never retreated. Had they retreated, had they began to believe and then pulled it back, you and I wouldn't be here right now. So it is in your life right now. You have to believe and not retreat. I want you to get this, understand this, that when you go to the 5th chapter of Ephesians and it talks about the armor, when it talks about the old armor, and it begins to share with you about putting on the breastplate, taking the sword, putting on the belt, shodding your feet, doing those things. I want you to notice something. When you visualize the armor, it is not equipped for you to turn around and run away. There's no armor on your back. Why? Because you're not designed to retreat. There's no protection when you turn around. So all the armor is on the front of you, moving you forward. So when you start believing God, when you start trusting God, don't you take it back and don't retreat. And know that when you don't retreat and you know the rules and you then take a risk, here's your takeaway this morning. Faith works when you work faith. Had not our forefathers and our matriarchs who went before us, had not worked their faith, not in man, had not worked their faith in a Jesus that their masters introduced them to, but they understood who the real Jesus is. Had they not done that, we would not be here. They worked their faith. You're dealing with something that's broke and you can't fix it, and you're wondering how you're going to get out of it. Work your faith. Don't you retreat. Work the rules and take a risk. The Lord be with you today. May his face shine upon you, give you peace. Please share the manna as well as meet me today at O'Fallon, Illinois City Hall at 6:30, where we're going to be celebrating Juneteenth and a rally for social justice. Meet me there. I'll see you there. God bless you. Bye now.